is the smallest country in Southeast Asia and has a population of 5.5 million people. The languages they speak in Singapore are English, Malay, Mandarin, Tamil and Singlish, which is a mix of several different languages. Singaporeans are mostly bilingual in their mother tongue and English as their most common language. We chose Singapore because 2 of our group members have been there and also because it's a very interesting mix between Asian and Western culture. The World Bank describes Singapore as the easiest place to do business for a consecutive 10 years. It's also described as the most technology-ready nation and the best investment potential. It's also the second most competitive country in the world. Although income equality is high, 90% of all Singaporeans own their own house. And the country has one of the highest per capita incomes with low taxes. But what does it take to go working in Singapore?
Hi, can you introduce yourself?
I'm Shuing, I'm 25 years old, I'm Malaysian, working in Singapore.
And what kind of company do you work for?
I work for a major software company as the marketing director.
Okay. Tell me if you had any prejudices about the people that live in Singapore before you went to Singapore?
Hello Audrey, you look gorgeous. Hey Rin, hey, you fat already huh? Eat a lot, Sibo.
Well, I thought that Singaporeans were really competitive, like they will do anything to achieve their goals, so they're not very nice people. Yeah.
Okay, but were the prejudice you had about the Singaporean people true, or did you find something else?
I found that it was true that they're really competitive, like they really try very hard to get what their ambitions and they want to achieve their goals, but they're actually nice people, just that they take a while to warm up to, like, they'll be a bit cautious of new people, but after they get to know you, they're actually really nice and fun.
I'm going to describe a possible problem situation when doing business with people from Singapore. The Lewis model describes 3 cultural types: the multi-active, the reactive and the linear active. The Netherlands and Singapore have different cultural types according to the Lewis model. The Netherlands has a linear active cultural type, where Singapore have a reactive cultural type. The linear active cultural type means that the people plan, schedule, organize, pursue action and do one thing at a time. The reactive culture is one that prioritizes courtesy and respect, listening quietly and calmly to their conversational partners and reacting carefully to the other side's proposals. In a meeting where the Dutch expect action and prepared and organized meetings, people from Singapore will enter this meeting differently. The Dutch expect ideas to a new plan from the people from Singapore.
Now, I want you all to dig deep. I need your best ideas and I need them now.
So why did you actually choose to go to Singapore to work there?
It is an environment with many opportunities. It's very business friendly and it's really well connected to the rest of the world in terms of technology, communication and transport. It's really easy to get to everywhere from Singapore.
Okay, and there are a lot of international people there as well, I think, or not?
Yeah, a lot. The Singapore government is really friendly to expats and foreign companies who want to start up new businesses in Singapore. So it's quite easy to come and work here.
Okay. Can you name some features that are that the Singaporeans are well known for and the culture of Singapore?
The first would be multiracial harmony, because there are a few races living here and they all live peacefully and tolerant of each other. So there's no tension between races or religion. The second one would be Singaporeans are really law-abiding. Yeah.
Okay.
They don't commit crimes. Not really.
I'm going to explain several aspects of the Hofstede model. The first being individualism. There's a big difference in the level of individualism between Singapore and the Netherlands. Singapore scores 20, whereas the Netherlands score 80. A high individualism means everyone takes care of themselves, whereas the opposite, collectivism, means the group is more important than the individual. In the Netherlands, it is preferred to speak your mind, whereas in Singapore, people are more likely to alter their opinion in order to keep the peace and the harmony. It is very important to keep in mind for Dutch business people to not be too direct, but be polite and very friendly to Singaporeans. Another big difference between Singapore and the Netherlands is the level of masculinity in the society. In a masculine society, social gender roles are more distinct. So men focus on material success, whereas women focus on quality of life. In a feminine culture, there's less of a distinction between those. Singapore scores 48, so it's more masculine. The Netherlands score 14 and it's a more feminine society. Another important difference is that masculine societies focus more on achievement, wealth and expansion. Failing here is a disaster. Feminine societies focus more on negotiations and compromising, trying to reach a win-win situation. When doing business in Singapore, it is important to keep in mind that some Singaporeans might come off very aggressive. This is not meant aggressive, this is just how they do business and try to reach an agreement. The last big difference is on uncertainty avoidance. Singapore scores very low at 8, whereas the Netherlands score quite high at 53. People in cultures with high uncertainty avoidance tend to be more emotional and try to minimize the occurrence of unknown and unusual circumstances. This is done by doing step-by-step planning and lots of laws and rules. In contrast, low uncertainty avoidance cultures accept and feel comfortable in unstructured situations or changeable environments and try to have as few rules as possible.
Did you experience any culture shock or not, because you're from Asia as well, so there's not a big difference? Or
One big difference is they ban chewing gum.
so it's true that people in Singapore really can't chew?
Yeah, they don't sell it anywhere. They are not allowed to possess it. So it was really weird. And there's this thing called Singlish, which only Singapore has.
Do you speak it now?
Yeah, I guess. I'm quite fluent in Singlish now.
Okay,
But
so
when I first came, it was a bit weird. Yeah.
So Singlish is Chinese?
It's a mix of English, Chinese, Malay, a dialect called Hokkien.
Oh yeah.
A Chinese dialect, yeah.
Oh, okay. Do you think there's a best way to start a business with partners in Singapore, or there's no rule that will make you succeed or something like that?
Singaporeans are I would say they are very result oriented. They want to see results. They want to see how capable you are. It doesn't matter which part of the world you're from.
Mm-hmm.
You must be able to show them that you can achieve something. You can help. If you want to work with their business, you must show that you can actually help them. You can do something for them. You can benefit them. So they are very practical people.
So you have actually tell your talents to them and show that you did some extracurricular. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and projects are done. They want to see concrete proof of what you can do.
Are there anything that business people should or shouldn't do in Singapore? The etiquettes of the business world.
Okay, for Singapore, even though it's very westernized, it's still an Asian country. So they emphasize a lot on respect, and you have to respect their hierarchy, like how you treat the higher management and the lower level executives is different. You have to be very mindful of that, and Singaporeans don't really like body contact. Like when you're not close to them, maybe just tapping the shoulders or hugging, you can't do that when you first meet them. So you have to be careful about that. Yeah, they have to keep distance.
Okay, so what do you do if you first meet someone? Just shake their hands, or?
Usually shake hands and exchange your business card.
Okay, now I'm going to talk about the non-verbal aspects of doing business in Singapore. First of all, it's important to know your business associate. The degree of using proper nonverbal communication depends on the age group. Older residents value tradition more. Furthermore, it also depends on the ethnicity of your business associate. Singapore is a multicultural country, and there are those of Chinese, Malaysian, Indian, and Eurasian heritage. The majority of Singaporean business professionals have a Chinese heritage. General important nonverbal communication habits are to not put your hands on your hips. This portrays aggression. Also, you should never touch somebody on the head, as this is regarded as the seat of the soul. Also, do not cross your legs, as this may expose the bottom of your feet, and this is considered unclean. Do not use finger gestures, such as pointing or the OK sign. Do not display public affection between male and female associates.
Ah, good. Kiss the paper more. Saliva, digestive system. Fine.
Together as one, we're so much more. One Singapore.